Hello, welcome to my video. As you can see on the screen, my topic for today is all about modifiers, but I will specifically be discussing today your adjectives. So, what are adjectives? Adjectives are words or group of words that modify your nouns and your pronouns. What we have to take into consideration with respect to the definition are the following verbs. First, the verb modify, and the two other words, which are actually your parts of speech, your nouns and your pronouns. So, what do adjectives do to your nouns and pronouns? They basically modify. When we say modify, it has two ways, whether it describes or limit either your noun or your pronouns. Therefore, we can safely say that adjectives cater to your nouns and your pronouns. Let us look at the examples provided here. The first one is Rico wears a blue shirt. So here, blue is the adjective and it's modifying the noun shirt. Next example. The pretty gal loves to collect stamps. Here, the adjective is pretty and it modifies the noun gal. For the third sentence, he is extremely smart. Smart there is the adjective, and obviously it is actually modifying the pronoun he. And for the last example, wow, lucky you. Lucky there is the adjective and it's modifying the pronoun you. So that's how adjectives work. They modify your nouns and your pronouns. But with regard to the positioning of our adjectives, we have two ways, whether they are attributive or predicative. It is attributive if the adjectives appear before your noun or your pronoun. The example is provided. The brown dog is barking. The brown, the word brown, which is an adjective, comes before your noun, which is your dog. On the other hand, when we say predicative, here the adjectives appear after your noun or your pronoun, and they're basically separated by your linking verb. Example, Rico is decisive. Decisive here is your adjective, and it's modifying the proper noun Rico. And if you noticed, they are apart from each other, and they are separated by your linking verb is. Now let's get into different categories of your adjectives. First, we've got the proper adjective. Well, these are proper nouns that have been transformed into a modifier. Example, Filipino. Filipino in itself is actually a noun, but since there is a noun after the word Filipino, the word Filipino ceases to functioning as a noun, but rather it's now functioning as an adjective. So Filipino dishes. Filipino is modifying the noun dishes. Same with Italian mug, American bald eagle. Second category is a compound adjective. It is a compound adjective because it consists of two or more words. And one strategy in order to combine or merge those words, we're using the punctuation mark hyphen. Example, sugar free. It's composed of two words and separated by a hyphen, but it's considered as one word. So sugar-free coffee, sugar-free modifies your coffee, record-breaking sales, record-breaking modifies your sales, and last-minute tips, last-minute modifies your noun tips. Next, the demonstrative adjective. This specifies what we are referring to. If you can remember, when we studied pronouns, there is also such a thing as demonstrative pronoun. So we can basically say what pronouns do, adjectives also assume on that kind of function. Example, these mugs are pretty. So we are referring to the mugs. And when we say referring to the mugs, we're talking about mug in the plural form, and they are nearby objects. Next, nominal adjectives. These are adjectives that perform the function of a noun in a sentence. So, um, originally, they are adjectives, but because of the use of the article the, they become a noun. So, example, the best, the strongest, the great. So we try to apply that in sentence. The best is yet to come. So the best there is their subject, which is actually the noun. Next, collective adjective. This is a subgroup of your nominal adjectives. They're actually related, but here we're talking about group of people, and we're still using the article the. So the Americans, the destitute, the Filipinos, the wealthy. So when I say the Americas, we're talking about a group of people whose race, whose origin, whose descent are actually Americans. So example, the rich should provide assistance to those who are in need. So we're referring here to those sectors who belong to the rich people, who are actually rich people. Now, let's get an order of adjectives. What will happen if, for example, in a sentence, you have several adjectives all at the same time? They're all happening at the same time. You have to be guided by this particular rule that there is an arrangement, that there's a specific order as to how we're going to be arranging our adjectives. So it's going to be opinion, then measurement, then shape, then condition, then age, then color, then pattern, then origin, then material, and then purpose. So, for example, I recently bought an enormous round Spanish rug. So we base the arrangement on the rule provided. Enormous is an opinion adjective, or it can also be a measurement because it's huge. Then round is a shape, and Spanish is an origin. So, based on the rule, measurement comes first, followed by shape, then by origin. Another example, this is indeed a big, heavy bag. So, big is a measurement, and heavy is actually a condition. So if you notice, the rule states that measurement should come before your condition. So you have to use this rule, especially when you're confronted with sentences that have several adjectives all happening at the same time. Let's go to the degrees of comparison. So we have the positive, the, the comparative, and the superlative degree. So here we're using inflection. We're changing, altering a word to make it comparative and to make it superlative. So for example, James Reed is handsome. That's positive. Handsome is a basic adjective in its basic form. Then Marco Gumabo is more handsome than James Reed. Now we're comparing two persons, Marco Gumabo and James Reed, because of the presence of the word more. More suggests comparison. And of course, every time that we compare, we have to use the word than. And the third sentence, Vico is the most handsome of them all. We're using most because of all the people mentioned, Vico by far is the most handsome. Now, we can also try to inflect the adjectives by changing the spelling. That happens to short adjectives. If an adjective is just 1 to 2 syllables, perhaps just add er for comparative and est for superlative. If it has three or more syllables, you're going to add more before an adjective if we're talking about the comparative degree, and you're going to be adding most before an adjective if we're talking about a superlative degree adjective. Now let's look at the inflection. I am strong. Mina is stronger than I am. So there's comparison. Stronger. It's a comparative adjective. And still we're using the word than. Then of all the three girls, Elizabeth is the strongest. So comparing Elizabeth to the other two, of all by mentioning the three of them, it is Elizabeth who's actually the strongest. So that ends our discussion of adjectives. I hope that you learned something. We're gonna go deeper as we go along the way. For the next session, we'll be talking about your adverbs. Thank you, and please do subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel, and please, if you like this video, click on the like button. Thank you.